you've reached Tim Bose.
He's not coming on, is he?
What the fuck?
So I was ready yesterday, for the record, and I rushed home from wood carving. So I don't know, whatever.
You had wood carving yesterday?
No, today, Tuesday. That's what I'm saying. I rushed home today.
Yeah.
Because Tim couldn't do it Monday.
Yeah. And
I've
got a ton of work.
Yeah, man. You can't hold people up like that. This is the integrity cast.
The complaining cast.
Integrity cast for August 28, 2018. Where we talk about virtues and
not standing people up.
Yeah, being the best person you can be.
Not asking people to change things and then not showing up.
Do you think that video games made you a virtuous person? Do you think that it added to your good self?
I think it informed my childhood about what I thought about right and wrong. I mean, like, yeah, definitely. Like a lot of that is based on like what I guess, quote unquote, learned from RPGs and stuff. So
yeah, I would say the same thing, and I've thought about that in the past as well. But especially RPGs, like I find that I have a bit of a. I know that I have a strong moral compass. I know that I am a bit of a stick in the ass for rules. I like rules to be followed. I think that rules make a society better. I believe in justice and all those things that are kind of accentuated in RPGs, given during stories, this kind of thing. And I think a lot of that, to be honest, I think a lot of it comes from when I was a kid.
Sailor Moon and Power Rangers.
Putting a whole bunch of time for you. Putting a whole bunch of time into RPG because between you and me, just the two of us, I spent a lot of time playing video games as a kid. Like my parental influence was very slim.
Yeah,
and so
it's kind of weird because like it's all like RPGs were the most story based, and they're also like back then it was like pretty much Japanese unless you were a PC guy doing Ultima stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of grew up.
You're a piece of shit right now.
But we grew up with like that Japanese sensibility of what's right and wrong. That
very
sacrifice is good.
Very, very black and white sides, right?
Sacrificing for the greater good is a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. Like North American stuff
doing what
back
you
then.
say you're gonna do.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I think that also lends itself to why, I'm a fan of One Piece, and My Hero Academia clicked really easily with me because I think that general shonen stories are very set out to say, do your best, right? Like even if you are weak, you can grow, and even if you can't do it, like you try anyways. This kind of stuff, right? I think a lot of that comes from this realm.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like for me, it's always like also there weren't like North American games that did that, and it's like you couldn't. The other kind of games you didn't like. I don't want to be dismissive for anything else, but it's like even Zelda, you weren't gonna learn necessarily morality other than if somebody asks you for something and you do it, you get rewarded. I guess. But NBA Jam's not teaching you that kind of code.
Teaches you how to be on fire.
So summer's almost over, but this is it's like summer, like wanted to kick everybody's ass before going out.
It's hot. Today was brutal.
It's not only hot, it's fucking humid.
I share an embarrassing story with you today.
Yeah.
So as you may or may not know, I have 2 months off in the summer, And the week before I go back to work after those 2 months in the summer, I have to spend a week or so at my workplace preparing for work. And my workplace is an old building that doesn't have AC.
Oh, crap.
And it was hot today. It was really, really bad. And I was moving tables and moving boxes and organizing things and like moving around the whole time, stifling air inside. And I was soaked. I was completely soaked. My whole body, all my clothes were soaked. It was awful.
That sounds amazing.
And then I got
Tell me
home.
more about your wet body.
You missed it. You should have been in chat earlier. Keenan got to see my wet body.
Oh, damn.
And then I got home, and my wife and daughter were out. I rode my bike today, and I got home and I was just drenched. So I changed my clothes. Like, it was hard to ride my bike today. It was so hot out.
Yeah.
Like, just the sun was bearing. Like, it was one of those days where it's deadly humid, but it's also like deadly sun. Just like the heat just burning on your skin, you know? And I got home.
Feels like it was on your back, on top of you.
Yeah.
Pushing you down to the ground.
Yeah. I got home and I was reading the internet a little bit, and I saw a thread about a survey that had come out, and I was reading through that. And I was like, fuck. Fine. So I got back on my bike and I rode out to the game shop and I bought a game.
Wow.
Well, I want to talk about that in a little bit because I played a bit this week. I got some things to talk about.
Cool.
How about you
Played
guys?
more Resort this week.
Not once.
And I listened to that episode too.
It burned hard, it burned bright, and it burned out.
No, you know what?
Let's pour one out for Go Vacation.
No, but dude, I want to hear. I don't know. You can share your experience.
Look,
Is it true what
I'll
I was
tell you
saying
what.
last week?
Well, yeah, okay. I agreed with most of what you said. I mean, the fun that I had, if I was playing that by myself, it would have been garbage. Like, and even when I was playing with you guys, I was like mildly into it until I started screwing around with the game and doing what you were talking
yeah, but
about.
that's you. Like, you don't have fun with video games unless you can like fucking break them.
No, it's a bad game.
I disagree. So the game we're talking about is Go Vacation.
You called it a bad game as much as you without actually saying it.
No, yeah, because that's not what I
a B
mean.
game.
It's not a bad. Yeah.
So part of that is if it's a B game and it's a janky game, part of the fun is you have to admit trying to see where the jankiness, what are we talking here? What's the budget on this thing? Because glitches in games are rather fun, especially when you discover them for the first time together, right? So I mean, the actual game itself was fine. I mean, sure, we didn't do that much of the game. We ended up screwing around.
Again, I don't know whether I made it clear or not last week, but you got to take everything that I was saying. Like, I would never play this game on my own.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun to play with your 6-year-old and your partner who doesn't play video games.
Yeah. And that being said, it's one of your top 10 games of 2000.
Yeah, we're gonna hold you to that.
Yeah. Well, no, I said we'll see how it goes. I had. You
should get the users to vote for what they think, or the viewers. I mean, I'm
gonna talk about 2 games very quickly.
Yeah.
And then you guys do some stuff, and then I want to come back to 2 more. Is that fair? I have 4 to talk about.
Okay,
sure.
I have 2 quick ones. One of them, I was looking for something to play on Steam, and I wanted something like Hex Cells. We haven't given enough love to Hex Cells.
We have
podcast. Well, in a while. How's that?
Sure.
We haven't given enough. I don't think you can give enough. If you're
good.
listening to this show and you have not played Hex Cells for PC, get on it.
That's great.
I really feel it's one of my top puzzle games.
It's a good logic puzzle game for sure, man. It's great.
It's like a fancy, difficult version of Picross, right?
Yeah, sort of. Yeah. Yep.
So Hex Cells is amazing. I was looking for something like that, and I found a game called Hexaturn.
Oh.
And it's pretty interesting. How it works is that there's a hex grid, and then there's 3 goals, I guess, and then there's one bad guy, and the bad guy's trying to get to the goals. And your job is to put blocks up in place so that the guy can't reach any of the exits, the goals.
Oh.
He moves once and you move once, and he moves once and you move once. So you can only put down one barrier at a time. And so you have to kind of plan ahead and say, if he moves here, I have to make sure that I can block it. If he moves here, I have to make sure I can block it.
Sort of like Othello or Go in sort of that kind of way, right?
I disagree, but I can see why you would say that.
Yeah.
But then they start to throw other things in, like he can move twice, or you get bonus tokens so you can put 2 blocks down on a turn. So there's kind of variations on it.
Oh.
And it's pretty fun. Like, I mean, it's a 3-star game. It's not amazing. It's not terrible. It's pretty cool. And I think I paid like $2.50 or $3 for it or something.
Yeah.
So
Is
Hexaturn
it more on the honeycomb beat side of things, or is it more on the like as far as your puzzle like graph of how good it is?
I don't know what's Honeycomb Beat.
Oh, it's an old DS game. I thought you played it and liked it somewhat.
I don't know. I may have. I played a lot of DS games.
Yeah.
And that was a long time ago, and I'm old.
So is it worth like how much was it?
Like $2, $2.50, $3, something
Oh,
like that.
okay. Okay, so it's worth a try.
Yeah, I mean it's $2.99. $2.99 Canadian. You know what? For $2.99, give it a go. Hexaturn. The other game this one.
Oh boy.
Have either of you gentlemen heard of Donut County?
Yeah, I heard about it.
Kenan?
I remember seeing
Nope.
it. When it was
Donut
originally
County, I
announced.
saw a trailer for about a half a year ago, I guess. And the idea is that it's very like Katamari-ish, where you have a hole on the ground and you move the hole around and like shit drops in the hole.
Yeah.
And then the more you drop in the hole, the bigger the hole gets, and you can drop bigger stuff in the hole.
Mm-hmm.
I was really excited for it because I think the art style is cool. And again, I refuse to believe that Katamari wasn't an influence to this thing.
No, it's got to be.
So I was really excited about it. I bought it a couple days ago. I saw that it was coming out on PS4, iOS, Steam, I'm sure.
Mhm.
Yep.
So I pre-purchased it on PlayStation because they had like a save $3 or $4, whatever it was. I think it cost me $12. Last night, laying in bed, my tummy was a little rumbly, so I got up for a little bit, went downstairs. I was like, oh yeah, a game. Came out at midnight, so I turned it on. I beat it in 2 hours.
I'm not surprised.
There's more.
Okay.
I woke up in the morning. I played it for another hour, and I had platinum trophy.
Wow.
So this game took me about 3 hours to 100% complete.
It took
And
them
I'm-
6 years
But
to
you
develop.
got a platinum now.
I'm a little disappointed because it never really goes past. I don't know. I expected that there would be some really cool stuff, and there's some things that are somewhat interesting. Like there's, you can drop a frog into the hole, and then you can shoot the frog out, and then it eats flies.
Yeah.
If a snake goes in the hole, then it sticks its tail up, and you can like push buttons and turn stuff with it.
Okay. So
But that's it. But like that's it.
Yeah.
I feel like it kind of scratched the surface a little bit, and then that was kind of all there was.
It didn't seem like a deep concept when I saw the trailer for it, but I guess if they were thinking of doing that kind of stuff, do you think they could have went further with it?
Absolutely, they could have. It just, I feel like this game had huge potential.
Yeah.
And again, it's not that it's awful, but it just, I don't know, big letdown.
It's missing an extra layer of something.
Big letdown.
Sounds like it's missing an
Thanks for
extra
taking it.
layer of charm or something with it, right? Like
Yeah.
That's what it comes down
It
to.
I
seems
think-
charming from what I saw. I think
So yes, it does, but
Same.
at the same time, so there's a lot of dialogue, which pads out the 3 hours, right?
that's
The dialogue is not very interesting, and it's written like texts. So there's like people say LOL and talk like fucking.
millennials.
You know what I mean? I don't. I didn't want to say it, but that's what I was saying. That's what I was thinking. So it's
Oh,
I wanted to go to like my local a homebrew coffee place and order something and sit on my iPad and play Donut County. You know,
Yeah.
it just.
I'm surprised you
the
fell for
problem
it.
here.
And I'm torn because you know what, the game itself is really cool. There's just not enough of it.
Yeah, no, that's too bad. I was hearing that as well when I heard of reviews on it.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you look at Katamari, right, like what it sounds like, Katamari always had like every object has its charm, and they spend a lot of time like making each object sort of have its own sort of like thing, right?
Yeah,
Something
like
is run away
pencil.
from you. Yeah. Okay.
There's the thing about Katamari is it scales so much, right? And
Yep.
they'll throw little curveballs at you, and each environment is its own joy in that
Yep.
game. Like
And
part
and
of it.
I think Katamari gets by a lot on its music, to be honest.
That's-
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
some
another
of
big
the some of the best in any video game. I
Mhm.
personally feel
Oh no, I agree.
fantastic.
I should listen to that this week. I'm in the mood for that actually. I need a little pick me up.
I have a memory stick in the car that has like, I don't know, 800, 900 songs or something on it. All the stuff I love. And I don't think there's only maybe two video game albums on there. One of them is the Katamari soundtrack and the other one's from Jet Set Radio.
I can't believe there's only 2 video game soundtracks on
I
a
don't-
stick
I
of.
I don't really listen to video game music
Interesting.
though.
I listen to 80% video game music,
I know you do.
or
I
not
do-
even at
I
80%,
do
but a good
not.
amount. 50% maybe. That's more accurate.
But I have two deeper things I want to talk about, but they might take a little more. So
Okay.
do you guys have anything you want to go at?
Yeah.
yeah, Tim, you've been away for a
Yeah,
couple.
I-
Weeks. What have you been up to?
What did I play? A bunch of Exapunks. That's that Zachtronics game. It's actually been a lot of fun. So I've been slowly picking away at the puzzles in that, and it definitely feels expanded beyond what Shenzhen does in terms of like kind of like when you compare a programming language to a more advanced programming language. I guess you could say. So it's doing some interesting things there. A little more stuff with loops and things like that. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm trying to remember what else I played beyond the other thing that I'm going to mention in a second. I haven't. You know what I realized? I haven't touched Octopath after like the week that it came out. I played and I haven't touched it. Should I go?
You guys know I sold it like as soon as I could after I finished with it.
Yeah. I didn't even get to unlock any of the jobs in it because I know there's jobs. I haven't found any of those, and I feel like I wanted to make the game a little more interesting.
It's hold on. So this is not really big spoiler stuff, but the jobs that you unlock are just the same jobs that everybody else has, right?
They're not extra jobs. They're just oh.
I don't know how
bad.
like spoiler you want to get about this, but
No.
I know there are a few extras.
Oh, okay.
Like on top of the 8 original jobs, but they're like end to end.
Hard to get. Yeah, I think I heard a little rumor about that too.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm pretty
I'll-
sure
we'll
I'm
go back to it.
with that. I'm not
Yeah.
going to be pursuing that anymore.
It was in retrospect a bit of a letdown. Like I love the battle system's incredible. I love what it looks like. Like just I don't know. It's so sterile.
In contrast, not even an actual game that exists, but did you guys see the Chrono Break thing on Twitter that guy made?
I saw on Reset Air that you said that you really liked the music. I thought the music was not great.
I loved everything about that friggin' fake ass trailer, and I hate that guy for making it because it looks amazing. Like the trailer itself was really well thought out. So this is for the listeners. This was a fake trailer for Chrono Break, which was a rumored sequel to Chrono Trigger at one point. And this gentleman probably spent months making basically a trailer for a fake sequel, and the graphics are all different, and there's new music or remix of music. It's doing something with a story that might be there somewhere that looks really cool. It kind of made my heart hurt to watch that. Like it really.
I mean, it's done by the guy like who did Owlboy. So
Yeah, that's the Owlboy guy. It looked amazing too, like graphically.
Yeah, but
don't
I
know.
mean, Chrono Trigger without like looking good graphically won't be enough for a good Chrono Trigger. Like and it's always gonna. I can't see Square ever pulling a team together the way that they did
No.
before with Chrono Trigger. So
You know what? From what I saw, give it to that guy. Like honestly,
I'm in the same camp. I kind of felt differently from you with that trailer. I thought that it looked like a fan trailer. It looked like, yeah, somebody did some sprite edits, which is cool. I don't want to minimize what he did. There's a lot of work went into it, I'm sure. But I don't want another Chrono Trigger, because I think this is what you're saying too, is that like they just fuck it up anyways, and then I just have a shitty game to like a shitty sequel to a game that I loved like 20 years ago, right?
yeah.
I mean,
can see that.
imagine if Chrono Cross was not called Chrono Cross, I think it would have been fine. Like that.
Yeah, but it was shit as a Chrono Trigger sequel.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't think that ruined my concept of Chrono Trigger. I don't really associate them necessarily anymore.
But do you think that you would with Chrono Break, which looks exactly the same and has just like a slightly modified version of the main theme?
I disagree that it looked the same at all. I think it looked like its own totally different. It was more zoomed in. It had like, I don't think it's like comparing Super Metroid to like a Symphony of the Night type of, like, it was higher resolution sprites, larger sprites. Like, I don't know. It just looked different than a Super Nintendo game to me. And then the music is like its placeholder in a way. I still think it was a great remix of what was there, but it's, who knows what the person would do with the music. I'm not, it's meant to be a fake trailer, right? Like, to hint at whatever is going to be there. Like, I just like the way the trailer ended too, with the friggin' whatever that guy was, and he splits the screen in half, and I don't know. It just hints at a lot of cool things, and if I saw that trailer and I thought it was real a long time ago, I would be pretty pumped. Let's say we erased Chrono Cross from existence, and you saw that trailer, like,
I don't think
back
Chrono
then?
Cross has anything to do with it.
No, I'm saying, like, let's say instead of hearing about Chrono Cross coming out, or having that be sort of a sullied memory of a sequel that kind of didn't live up to its promise, you had that trailer come out. Like, unless you were impressed by the Chrono Cross trailer when it came out and were excited about it. I
was excited
Yeah.
about Chrono Cross.
Yeah.
Again, though, I can't really say what I would feel about that trailer 20 years ago. I'm sure it would be great.
Yeah.
But-
Well, anyway, I thought it was really
Because like a PlayStation even wouldn't be able to render graphics along those lines, because it's just not that kind of. It wasn't pushing that kind of 2D that we're seeing in this trailer, right?
maybe.
The bigger problem, like when you're talking about trying to recapture that kind of magic, it's really hard for a lot of ways, especially if you don't have, for example, the same composers
Sure.
working with it. You don't have the same like kind of scenario writers and storyline people working on it. It's just like I would all of that needs to add up in order to produce something of that quality. So
I don't
think
think it's
maybe possibly
And I-
you're
I
right.
don't-
I mean, sure, but then you've got things like Dragon Quest 11, which looks like it's doing the same thing as every other Dragon Quest game, and you've got a big team of people that supposedly know how to, evolve
and,
something.
The
and
first
it's-
reviews are terrible for that game. So
Yeah,
I
I'm
know.
not going to play it anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it can go both ways, but you're right. I mean, Chrono Trigger, if you wanted to do a remake of it, or I'm not a remake, a sequel, you'd need a big team at the very least, and one small indie team probably wouldn't be near enough to do it.
let me
justice.
put it in another way. I don't trust Square enough to make a sequel without messing it up on that level. Like they did something great, they should leave it alone, and they should move on. Like if they want to do something else that's great without the ties to that original, then I'm all for it. But for them, I guess it's too big of a risk to try and start a new IP and such.
Yeah.
But like leave the classic alone. Like it's fine the way that
I
it
don't,
is.
I
We
don't
can
mind
all
them
move
attempting
on.
it, even if they screw up myself. It wouldn't bother me if it ended up being bad. I'd rather have a chance for something to be good.
Don't you guys feel though, like you say, oh, I don't trust Square anymore, this kind of thing, but it's not the same Square that it was 20 years
No.
ago. Like no company's the same as it was 20 years ago.
Right, Sakaguchi's not there, and that's why I don't trust it as
Yeah.
well. Right?
Yeah.
Like that's a
Man,
big
wasn't
part of
Blue
the-
Dragon awesome?
I never played it, but I heard it was pretty bad.
It wasn't terrible. It was fine.
No? Yeah.
It was fine.
Yeah. Cool.
Kieran, how about you?
I
Tim,
have
sorry,
one
did
other
you have
big
other things?
thing.
Yeah.
You'll never guess what I played this week. I, for some reason, wanted to play World of Warcraft. So I bought a subscription for a month, and I've just been like starting a new character and just, you know what? I just wanted something where I didn't have to think too hard and I just wanted to relax, and it was very relaxing. And it is very relaxing. I don't know if I will actually buy the expansion, because you can play up to level 110 without buying anything, just with a subscription. And I've had a lot of fun so far. I've been doing content that I've never seen before, and I rolled a Worgen priest and just been kind of turning in quests and looking at things and reading lore, and yeah, just playing by myself. It's a lot of fun doing a few little dungeons with groups. They made it a lot easier to do that now, so I can just run through a dungeon with a group of people, and yeah, and it's fun. I don't know if I'll stick with it, but for now, it was something that I kind of needed to just kind of relax at night. Just not something too stressful. I heard the new expansion's quite good, though, so I don't know. We'll see. But no commitment yet from that.
So why aren't you playing Dead Cells?
Me? I played a bit of it on PC for a while. Dead Cells, did I talk about how I feel about that? Like, it feels like it's missing some element of depth that maybe comes into play once you unlock more stuff in it. I'm not sure about that one.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, it doesn't feel like the styles of... It's not the type of roguelike I'm a huge fan of, I guess you could say. Like, I've seen people calling it, oh, it's a Metroidvania. It sort of is. Like, it still feels like an action roguelike to me. The boss, like, some of it feels like I don't know. Maybe I need to get better at it. But it feels like if you're not geared up for a boss appropriately, you'll just get like smacked. Unless you're supposed to be able to do these things without getting hit.
Isn't that like a
Some of the stuff
roguelike?
hits you really, really hard. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I heard that's what you were talking about. Like Spire is supposed to be what we're.
But it's
supposed
an
to be
action
looking
game,
at.
right? Like, it's a different type of game. So like sometimes I'm not in the mood for like a twitchy, really twitchy like 2D platformer like that is. It's quite like it's pretty twitchy. That said, I probably
I don't find
like
it
10
twitchy
hours.
at all. Like
10 hours
it has a
into it.
really good. It has a really good roll mechanic, and I don't know why. Like the. Let me ask you along these ways. Like, how many weapons have you tried to unlock, and how many times have you?
Like I said, I probably played. I got to the clock tower area, maybe a little further.
I
So
feel like
maybe
we're
the second
shitting
boss.
on Tim today. That's not the
Sure.
intention. I hope you don't take it as like fucking Tim.
No.
But it feels like that's what we're doing to you tonight. It's just something's not
Yeah.
clicking between like the two of us.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess not. Yeah, no. It's okay. You can criticize me. Dead Cells. Yeah, I don't know what to say about it. It's good. It's one of those things that maybe I got to put more time into. But it didn't capture my. I didn't love it like everyone else loved it yet. The one thing that's kind of has it going against it for me is in a little bit is that there's no random bosses like in some roguelikes. Like, you know which boss you're going to face at the end of a zone, which maybe if you take other paths through the game, you fight other bosses in different
Doesn't
order.
it
I
help
don't
you
know.
prepare for the boss though? Like you just said that you didn't like how if you didn't have the right setup, then you wouldn't be able to beat the boss.
Well, that's
But if
what I
you knew
mean,
the
right?
boss-
But like, you're right.
problem.
So if you didn't know which boss it was, then you might be kind of screwed regardless. But sometimes certain bosses are easier for certain people, whereas in this game, it's like, nope. If you have trouble with this one boss, you just have to, and you might get random.
So like every
RNG'd
other
out.
video game ever made.
You might get RNG'd out, right? In a roguelike, you might get RNG'd out of beating that particular boss because you just didn't get the weapons that you happen to get. Anyway, it's just a bit-
I don't know about that because like basically every single area, and depending on what path you're taking, it'll give you additional options for the kinds of weapons that you're going to be getting in those particular areas. It's not like weapons are tied to a particular area, but it just gives you more chances if you explore
getting
more
different
areas
stuff.
and,
Yeah,
and harder
maybe
areas.
it's just a matter of getting the different. Because I did get a couple upgrades that'll let you search the areas you've like more. Like there's a vine item that you get where you can climb up to spots where you can't get,
Right. So
maybe
there's a
that's-
vine, a teleport, a wall climb,
Break thing.
dash. A hard jump down to break through
Break
the
stuff,
tiles
yeah.
on the bottom.
Yeah, saw
So
that.
there's a lot like that opens up additional areas for you
There-
to get
right.
chances
Stuff
of,
that you can-
of additional weapons, right?
Okay.
But the idea would be like if you're trying to run for speed, then you're going to be less powered. If you try to explore more, there's higher chance that you're going to get killed by something or a random or an elite enemy that may spawn or something like that.
Mhm.
But you'll have more weapons and more life because you'll pick up more of those. Basically, you
Scroll
have a
thing,
choice
yeah.
a scroll which will extend your life or damage, basically. So,
Right.
depending on how you decide to gear up and what scroll you're going to get, is going to help you with a particular boss. But the mechanics of a particular boss, they do have patterns, they do have ways of approaching the boss. So, you like technically, if you had something that was slightly underpowered, because speedrunner is supposed to be able to get through it, as long as you know the pattern of the boss, you should be able to approach the boss and defeat it.
Right.
So that's the basic idea of it. So, and
Do the bosses vary at all in terms of like individual bosses? Like, are there variants of each boss, or just it's the same boss and there's no heart? Like, is
always
there?
get the boss at the end of the same area? That
It's
one.
like the most picky arguments ever.
What I mean is are there pattern variants? Like Binding of Isaac, you could fight different color versions of the same boss. And have
Now
different
it's clear.
moves.
Now I understand.
No,
right?
I understand.
I was having
No,
trouble with your line of thinking. Now
I'm
I
just
get it.
curious. I'm just curious if there is or not, or if that's the boss and that's the way it. Like, are there other move sets that appear randomly? Like,
Not that I've seen.
Okay.
So
maybe later if
This
other
game
modes.
fucking sucks.
All right. No, it's like I say, it's good. It's a good game, but I did play enough of it.
It's no Binding of Isaac, but it's a good game.
No. Yeah, like it's a good game. I don't know if I'll put 600 something hours into it. Like
it just looks way better. It plays way stronger. It just
okay.
there's no Binding of Isaac.
Argued about the way the game looks before. I'm not getting into that again.
Okay, what would you play?
It is a good looking game for sure.
So
That's
I've
cool.
just been diving back into Dead Cells, and then the other thing that I've been sinking my brain back into is Into the Breach. It came back up again with some people talking about it, and I was like, yeah, I should play more of it. And that's also another great game that came out this year that was indie-ish, and I'm kind of extremely in love with that game too.
By the way, it just
appeals to
launched
me.
on Switch today, I think.
Yeah, there's that too, but I'm not going to get it on Switch. But it's
cool.
yeah, it's one of those. I think that I don't know. There's going to be a bunch of indie games in my top 10 this year. It's just they're really strong this year.
I really like the unlock stuff for Into the Breach too, like the unlock system and the like encouraging you to play the game differently every time you play it. I really, really like how they did that.
It's very much a puzzle game more than a strategy game when I'm thinking about it. So
For sure. It's cool. It's very cool. I just checked how many hours I put into it. I put in 43 hours. I didn't realize that. I thought I had played it for less than that. So yeah, it's cool. I still have to go back and do more of that game for sure.
So
It's
back
pretty
around to you, Chris. What are your two?
Last week, did I say that I'd bought Shenmue 1 and 2?
Yeah.
So
Let's hear this.
I expected to come on the show this week and say, "Oh fuck, it was a waste of money." Like Shenmue 1
What?
is
You were so hyped about it last
No,
week.
I know,
How could
but
you say
what
that?
I mean, though, like to be into it and like I don't know, it's got problems and it's old and outdated systems, whatever else. But I'm still loving the shit out of this thing.
You're fucking out of your mind.
No, dude.
Out of my mind that I like it, or out of my mind that why am I out of my mind?
So
Out of your mind that you like it.
Dude, it's fucking
I
fantastic.
disagree, maybe for different reasons, but I've been watching streamers play, and because I haven't seen a lot of shit. I haven't seen a lot of it, only from when I never played it, and holy shit, Like the voice acting is
Yeah, so something's
So
only good
good.
when you can make fun of it.
no, it's cool in that way. Like I don't know, it's great. Like
Fucking Twitch. Is that what the hive mind has decided?
what do you mean? What hive mind?
I really like Shenmue because it's a classic story, and it's interesting how story based it is. Like it's a very simple story. It's more of a mystery, like detective story, than it is anything else. It's a visual novel without the novel. It's like a visual children's book. Does that make sense? You walk around a lot, you wait a lot.
You ask for directions a lot.
No, I don't think so. I disagree.
I saw a guy ask for directions
Yeah.
for like 30 minutes.
Yeah, but the guy can't
So-
fucking
so-
play Shenmue. then.
It was
Like, there's
amazing.
maps all over the place.
How was the waiting, Chris?
Well, no, the waiting is difficult for sure. And I know that in the second game they added like a wait system. But there's times, and I mean these are minor arguments, and I can see why people would have trouble with this. But when you wake up in the morning and I go talk to somebody and they're like, "Come see me tomorrow at 3 p.m." and you're like, "Oh fuck," and I got to find something to do for the rest of the day and all of the morning the next day.
Here you go, going to
that's
make
great.
some money so I can go to the gotcha machine
Yeah.
for a while.
That's the key to that. Like that's what's great about like Majora's Mask and like so many other types of games with that kind of.
There's a lot less to do
Right?
in Shenmue than there is Majora's Mask.
Oh really? Now you so I thought you loved this game.
I do, and I'm trying to like defend against stupid points that internet people make. Like
All right.
it's really cool to see people that have not played it before feeling the love for this game, right? There's a lot of people that I've read kind of impressions from that didn't play it in 2000 that are now playing it for the first time and saying, I don't know what it is about this game, but it's something special. Like it's a very personal experience. I get that it's aged. I totally understand it, but I put a lot of thought into this game this week. And I think if you think about modern open world games, you have this giant world and a bunch of shit that happens in the world. But ultimately, who gives a shit? I'm going to dig on Breath of the Wild for a second. I know that that's the unpopular opinion.
Not
but-
really. I mean, it's
With Breath of the Wild, you run around and sure you can find Korok seeds and sure you can do this, but ultimately I don't know, who gives a shit? Like it's a big world, that's great. And there's a lot to do, fine. But I don't give a shit about any of the things that I have to do. Does that make sense? Where-
but
Are you
I
just
wouldn't.
trying
I
to-
didn't think you were going to
for us
compare it
get
to
like
that.
Well, no, I'm
you
just
trying-
saying, no, I'm comparing it more to modern open world games.
Yeah,
where
I thought you were going to say
Shenmue-
Yakuza.
Well,
Like what? How does it compare
Well,
to
Forget
Yakuza?
Forget Yakuza.
So-
He's talking about Breath of the Wild right now.
Fine.
But
well, no, and
that
not
doesn't
necessarily
have it.
Breath of the Wild, but a modern open world game. Shenmue is a lot smaller.
Yeah.
But I think that by being smaller, you get a more personalized experience, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
There's more. Even back then, there were a few more details because it wasn't spread out over as much mileage, right?
And I would prefer that any day
Yeah.
of the week.
Yeah,
like-
it's a difference between like GTA, which was huge expanses and stuff, but like none of the buildings could be gone into and stuff like that.
Right?
Whereas this is a like, let's say, less square footage, but you know, like because there's less square footage, you're feeling like there's more buildings around that you can do something in and all that stuff. It's not like wasted travel time between stuff.
Sure. And if it is wasted travel time, like so say there's one area that I found where I'm walking through like back alleys behind apartment buildings and I climb up some stairs and I'm walking around and I try knocking on doors and there's nobody there. And I'm just like in the middle of nowhere and nothing's happening. And I'm like, why did they go through the point of modeling all this shit out? But later in the story, when you go there and you're like, oh, that's what this is for. Like, this is the reason, right? So I feel like everything in this, there's a ton of stores. You know, there's maps all over the place in Dobuita. And you look at the map and there's all these labeled stores. And all of those stores have, if not, you know, meet me at this store, meet me in this place, or you can buy this here, or this is across from here, or the person you're looking for is here. Like you kind of have a connection to most of the geography in this game over the course of the play, right? And I think that adds to it. Absolutely. So I don't know. I'm really enjoying it. There's not a lot of fighting, and I know it does the Virtua Fighter thing. So the fighting's not that fun, anyways. But it, like I say, it's much more story based than I remember it being. And again, not that the story is super deep or anything, but it's charming. There's something about it that's very appealing to me, and I really really have been enjoying it.
I respect that, but
Yeah, totally cool. Have you gone back to it?
I can't.
Okay, so how, all right.
I can't for a multitude of reasons. It's
Why?
just I just don't find it interesting anymore to find like out what happened. Like I've sat through walkthroughs of it already to see like whether there's any appeal to it anymore. I can't deal with the stiltedness of the dialogue and all that stuff. It's just
It's played in Japanese. That's your thing, anyways. Or don't
all
play
right.
it. Like it's fine. Like if you don't want to play it, it's fine. But I'm getting the vibe that you're like down on Shenmue for what?
Because I don't really think that I really enjoyed the original game all that often. Anyways, like when I first played on Dreamcast, like it was fun, like leveling up all the different kicks and everything for.
I thought that was boring as shit, and I hate that part of Shenmue.
Well, there you go.
You did all that.
No,
I
not
did.
at all.
I did
did.
just about everything in Shenmue the very first time I played it. Like,
Yeah,
That's
that
the
game
game
sucks.
Wow. I'm surprised you didn't, Chris, because you do that with every other shitty game.
But you know what? I
Like-
have history with this game in relation to you, where I think a big part of why I didn't do all this shit is because you spent so much time like going through drawers and shit. I was like, oh fuck, just blow the next fucking-"
I played it for like what, an hour?
Yeah, and you searched like 2 rooms.
Because I was
Fucking move
overwhelmed
on.
with possibility. It was a new game at the time. Nothing was
but
like
Chris,
that.
he
Yeah,
completely searched out those 2 rooms.
Yeah, and actually, you know what? To be honest, Tim, on this playthrough, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do the Tim thing, and I went through like each room methodically, opening every drawer.
Was it
Going
worth
through
it? Did you
every-
find anything cool?
I found a flashlight.
Nice. Does it work?
Yeah,
Can you use it?
and
That's
actually,
all right.
I did use it later on in the game too.
There you go.
So it saved me from going to Tomato. It's fun. I dig it, and I mean, I totally get it if you're not into it. I don't know if I would recommend it to everybody, but it's interesting and it's fun. It's good stuff, and I like that it's a game that I can play with my kid around, so I don't have to, you know, if
I
I'm
like
playing,
Yakuza.
yeah. So if I'm playing Shenmue and she comes
Sure.
downstairs, like she's been interested, and it's like how crazy. I had this conversation with my wife. Like, how crazy is it that in 2018 I'm playing Shenmue and I got my daughter beside me saying like, you know, how I wonder where the Phoenix mirror is, and I'm like, what is happening right now? Like, this is, I don't know. I have surreal experiences with like this new wave of re-releases. You know.
That's cool.
So, are you on to the second one yet, or are you still on the first right now?
Not yet. I'm still on the first one. Still enjoying it. I've started to slow my pace intentionally because I know the game quite well. I don't feel the need to continue lest I forget what's happening in the story. So I'm going to take my time with it, take my time with the second one, and try to pace it out a little bit so
Do the
that
Tim thing.
so that when the third one comes, it's not so out of mind. Does
Oh,
that
I
make
see.
sense?
Are you still carrying over from, like, was there any carryover from Shenmue 1 to 2? I can't remember because you
Yes.
did play the 2 of
Yeah,
them before.
Yeah, there's carryover, and this one also has save carryover as well.
Okay.
But I think I've heard confirmation that there is no save carryover from 1 and 2 to 3.
Okay.
No, that's too bad.
Yeah, I'm not confirmed, but I'm pretty sure that's what I
It
read.
might be hard to do. Who knows?
To speak to the connection between Shenmue and Yakuza, there are parallels playing it again. There's a lot more parallels to the Yakuza series than I remember there being. Not so much in battle or in story, but in like the myriad of minigame bullshit that you can do in this.
Yeah.
You know, like you go to the arcade and you play like Space Harrier and Hang On.
Right.
Yep.
Like-
Yep.
that's Yakuza, right? Like,
Yep.
you know, the gotcha thing is something that I would see in Yakuza. There's, you know, like going into the supermarket and buying stupid sandwiches and shit. You know, buying dried fish and milk and then bringing it to a cat. Like that's
Yeah.
something. All that shit is things that you'd see in Yakuza, right?
Yeah.
I still don't think that it's as connected as people say it is.
Right.
But I see the beginnings of what will eventually become Yakuza.
But ultimately, they're different
Of the
teams.
same like family tree though.
Right. Right.
So yeah. The other thing that I wanted to say, so I had two games I wanted to say. The other one I bought today. The other one I got on my bike and went, fuck.
Ooh.
I went, speak of the devil. I bought Yakuza Kiwami 2.
What?
Yeah, man. And I put it in. I played maybe 2 or 3 hours today. I fucking love Yakuza games so fucking much.
What a surprise!
Oh, it's so fucking good. Like it just, you know, it does, and it's all the beats. Like it's exactly the same thing. But you know, every single Yakuza game where like, here you go, you're Kiryu, here's the setup. You're in Kamurocho, you start off on Tenkaichi Street, go. And you start kind of in front of Serena-ish, right?
Yeah.
Facing north. And as soon as it started, I was like, oh, I'm home. Oh God, yes. Like I just, oh, I love this so much. Like I am totally feeling it.
Oh my God!
I am totally,
You better hope
totally.
they never stop making those games because
Oh,
you're
it's
like
so
a
good.
friggin' crack addict.
Yeah, and I will keep buying them and I will keep playing them. Do you know my original reasoning for not buying this one? I actually had it pre-ordered and I canceled it. Was that the Fist of the North Star with Dragon Engine comes out in I think it's October.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to burn myself out on Yakuza style games before jumping into that one. Do you know what game I'm talking about? There's a Fist of the North Star game subtitled Lost Paradise that uses the Dragon Engine from Yakuza.
Oh, yeah.
So it's essentially it's a Yakuza game, only you play Kenshiro and play through like a modified version of the original Fist of the North Star story, which is Jesus. Like think about two IPs that you can put together in the same thing, and I don't know, outside of what Evangelion cross Godzilla, this is pretty much up there for a dream crossover for me, you know.
Cool.
It comes out October 2nd. And so I was like, I don't know, because I don't want to burn myself out. I don't want to finish this and then jump straight into that. But then, do you know with the first Kiwami game, Sega released a survey that they advertised the shit out of in the, you know, on PlayStation, how you can press down when you highlight the game and it shows you a bunch of like, I don't know, related shit.
Yeah.
In the first Kiwami, there was a link to the survey saying like, you know, check out this survey, do this survey for us, like right in the PlayStation OS, which is kind of strange, right? And apparently the second one also has this survey. And so I looked at the survey on my computer before I bought it, and I wasn't planning on buying it. And I read the survey, and it's like, why did you choose to buy this game? When did you buy it? Did you buy it digital? This, you know, regular questions. But one of the answers in why did you buy this game was, you know, I want to support the Yakuza series as much as I can. And I read that and I was like, And then the next question was, would you be interested in formerly unreleased games to North America to come out the same way that these ones have? Like, you know, have a hinting at Ishin.
You want the Kiwami? Sorry, the Kiwami version of Yakuza, the Shinsengumi one.
Yeah, of Ishin and Kenzo, like the samurai era Yakuza games. And I was like, oh my God, like if they're even thinking about it, then I got to buy this game, you know? And so I jumped out and I grabbed that. And like I say, I've been absolutely loving it. Yakuza is the best thing ever. Please go buy it, even if you don't plan on playing it, so I can get closer to my goal of getting any other games that haven't come out yet.
If 2 comes out on PC, then I'll probably pick it up then.
You're
But
fucked.
I don't know.
Um,
I wanna play it on the best system I can.
Yeah, you're still fucked. I guess you
Zero
should
and
say if
Kiwami
you're not
one came
into
out,
if you're
right?
not into to Yakuza games, now is actually a really good time to get into it. It's difficult, right? Because there's 6 games and a prequel plus side story stuff. But right now is a good time to get into it because Zero is for PS4, and it is a prequel, but you could play it first. And I think a lot of people new to the series got in with Zero, right?
Mhm.
And then Kiwami is the first game, but it's like an updated ultimate version, like a remade version of the PS2 game. And then Kiwami 2 is just the second game in the series, updated for PS4. Well, yeah, it's a good time to jump in.
Water's warm. Come on in.
I liked 6, but it felt a little tired. Where 2, it's fucked, but it's a lot of fun. I don't know. I'm really enjoying it. I'm having a lot.
2's got a lot of
fun.
go to it, whereas like there's a lot of baby slow down stuff in 6.
Yeah, and it's really cool. I haven't played the second one, so my experience with the series, I got back into it with 4. So I played 1 when it came out, and I skipped 2 and 3, and then I've played all of them since then.
The new trilogy.
4, 5, 6 I played. And 2, it's a lot of fun seeing. It's not spoilers, I guess, because it's old, whatever. But the game starts off with you trying to convince Dojima Daigo to stop being a punk and get back into the fold.
Yep.
And it's crazy to see him in street gear and being a bitch in hostess clubs and stuff, because you're like, what? Daigo's not like that, right?
Yeah.
And so it's cool. I got a little bit of it. Did you finish 6?
Yeah.
There's a scene at the end of 6, without giving away too many spoilers, that is pretty heartfelt. Not a dialogue, but there's a scene involving Kiryu and Daigo at the end of 6 that was pretty heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
And I totally got what I needed to get out of it, because 4 and 5 and 6 have a lot of Daigo in it.
Yep.
But the father stuff, I think I missed, because I think that Daigo looks at Kiryu as kind of like a father figure.
Yeah,
And
because you only got that one small scene, I think, in 0, right, where he's at the batting cages and you kind of trying to straighten him out or something.
But there's
that's
a
about
lot,
it.
the main story in 5 is that he goes missing, right? There's still a ton in the other games. It's just that I feel that this one's really going to hit that home. That's the vibe that I'm getting from it really hard, even in the first opening hours.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm really excited about it. I'm really, really excited to play through. And then for whatever reason, I didn't love the combat in Kiwami 1. I'm not sure what it was about it.
It's because it's a cut down version of 0. But
I'm fucking loving it in Kiwami 2. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
It seems a little more cartoony. Zero's was super cartoony. And I feel like in 2, it's a little more cartoony. It's a little more, the music is fucked up. I don't know if it's original, if the second one had this battle music in it, but the fight music is really strange. Not what I expected at all. So I would highly recommend you look up Yakuza Kiwami 2, I don't know, some kind of battle music. Not any boss music or anything, just fight music. It's
street encounter music.
Yeah. It's not what I expect from it, and not like any of the other games' music. So yeah, check it out.
Question: It's based on the Yakuza 6 engine, right?
No, I think it's the Dragon Engine. Or no, it is 6. Yes, it is. I apologize.
Okay.
Because you can go through all the buildings and
and all the tables just flip up without any.
You hit them with your shins and stuff. It's fun. It's a lot of fun, but it doesn't
Okay.
feel as like I don't know what they did to I don't know if it's a bridge between or something because I felt like running in 6 felt like Kiryu was like leaning over at a 45-degree angle all the time.
Yeah.
And that's not what I'm getting from this. Like it controls really well.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm having a lot of fun with it.
And encounters, is there a load or is it just straight
Nope.
there like in
Well,
6?
load in that it like nothing happens. There's no jump in.
Sure.
But there is I would say it's more like the older games than 6.
Okay.
Where it stops for a second, people talk like, they do their like, they're
Clear out.
barking at each other.
Okay.
And then it says delinquents or whatever, and then you start.
Okay.
It's quick enough.
And 2 is my favorite.
Yeah, see? And so that was another thing too, because I wanted to check it out anyway, but I knew that it was your favorite, so I was like, I'll give it a go.
I'm also an Osaka boy, so that's why that
so
one's my
good.
favorite.
I don't think I could say that. I gotta cut this out. I gotta cut that out of the show. What time are we at? It's like 45 minutes. Yeah, I gotta cut that. You guys want to say anything else before I cut out that part?
Nope.
Any more racist things that we want to cut out? Like you say them and then we'll cut them out.
I want to hear Kings, and I won't cut it out.
Oh man, like that game I played for like 4 days straight while I was sick from like I had the flu from work, so I got to play through that game like straight, and that was like something else. Like it was so good.
Cool.
I have a lot of fond memories of that game, and the cop lady is so cool in that game.
I don't want to talk
I
to you
like her,
anymore
man.
because you're going to start dropping spoilers like one of those children doesn't know how to control yourself.
All right, so I got a question for you guys. Did you take a look at that Magic Leap headset? Because we haven't talked about VR in a while, and this is an AR thing. But like, did you see any of the talk about it?
I haven't seen it
Have
at
you-
all.
No.
Okay. Have you guys seen any of the AR stuff? Like everybody keeps talking about AR and how that's the real future, and VR isn't anything.
I don't know if I would ever believe anyone who would say such a thing.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
also of the camp where AR is not escapist enough.
That seems like a shills who are shills for AR trying to say those kind of things.
Yeah, and I can't see it either. I mean, I think their thing was like, oh, you could just block out the AR glass and it becomes a VR glass, so there's no point. Like you could just have AR and then it be also including VR. But I don't know. Like so far, like every single AR, like the HoloLens or even the Magic Leap, like it doesn't fill your entire view of eye for the screen.
Mm.
So it's basically a postage stamp size. That's what it looks like, a small piece in front of you, and so things are always getting cut off in that view.
Yeah.
I don't know like how anybody can say like that a $3,000, $2,000, $3,000 piece of equipment that only gives you that kind of viewing space is something that is ready for public consumption. It's just
What are you even using it for? Like, I don't even understand what's the purpose of this. Like, is it for
Well-
games? Is it for technology for doing your work better? Like, what is it?
so everybody who's been talking about like AR's like potential is always talking about for example, real estate agents could do a whole viewing of a condominium and put everything in there and all that stuff, right?
Can you do that in VR too?
You can, but like it wouldn't be like scaling to the room or whatever. You'd have to have somebody who could map the room properly in VR and have the computing power to render the entire thing.
Could you do it in BR?
What's VR?
Chris is losing it. He started the show too late. He wants to get back to Kiwami. He's trying to sabotage the show now.
He does.
What does BR stand?
anyways, like the big thing was just like mapping the entire room, and that's something that they're getting better at, but it's still like a $3,000 piece of equipment.
So sorry. So sitting inside a room that they would map the room and then just project it into that room that they're currently in.
So that you'd see like the couch
But
layout.
don't you have to have like a completely blank white room that's the same size to do it?
Well,
Or
that's what they say they can.
Project like a smaller version of it. You look in the top of it or something.
What it would be is they would map out the entire, like if you had a table there, they could always like overlay something on top of the table, so it'd be like a solid object, but not necessarily a table, so or that color table or whatever, right? So even though you have piece of furniture all around, the headset would be able to scan. It basically scans all of that and is able to map objects on top of it or have objects come out of it, that sort of thing. So that's why
You know what I want? You know what I want? I want to be able to put a glove on my hand and have my hand be a controller. You know what I'm talking about?
Sorry, say that again.
I want to be able to put a glove on my hand and use that as my controller. Just my hand in the glove and have it be tracked somehow.
Yeah.
Isn't that a power glove?
Yeah.
Like a VR power glove?
Sort of.
There was an older Magic Leap item, which was like a keyboard interface. It's not the same company, but they're called the same thing. And it would be like it's like a stick in front of your keyboard, a flat stick, and then as your fingers are moving on top of it, it would be able to register your finger movements and stuff. So, but I think your way also makes sense. If you had like a glove that had a bunch of dots on it, right, and was able to be tracked, then that would be something that they could possibly do as well, right?
Yeah, just with some kind of cameras and then track it, like kind of like PSVR does tracking, but much better. And so then I don't need to hold anything, and I can just use my hand. And if there's a gun in the game, I just grab the gun. If there's like anything.
I think it's closer probably to something that Oculus would be able to do with the way their cameras work, and because it uses those reflectors.
It sounds very similar to kind of the Oculus controller as it is now, right? Like, I know I realize it's just a trigger, but your hand is still, more like open and close flexy than.
Sure. Yep.
And the knuckle controllers that are coming out are even better, supposedly. One day,
the ones for the Vive, they still haven't like said that's going to happen, but the ability for you to completely open your hand and still have the controller there is something.
And there's more. It's more than just fingers, or like there's more. I think there's more nuance to the finger position for that too.
Yeah. But what Chris is saying, they're trying to like figure it out.
Fuck AR, man. And I say that not as like I'm trying to sabotage the podcast, which I kind of are. I kind of am, but I really fuck AR. I don't give a shit at all.
Yeah,
and I know I said that. I know I said that about VR like a year ago, but still, I don't know. I don't see the application. I don't see the fun part. I think even with VR, I could say, I'm not into it, but if they could do it properly, then it would be a lot of fun. Yep. Why is AR fun? I don't get it. And maybe for, like you say, maybe for real estate, sure, but for video gaming, I don't see where the draw is.
Yeah, I mean the one that they showed for HoloLens was like aliens creeping out of your walls and stuff like that, and you like shooting them, that sort of thing. Yeah,
it feels like
so like 3DS.
Yeah, why do I want to be in my own environment for that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Like it's too limited. Like my own environment is limited, right? And depending on what your environment is.
And also not fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to be in my environment. That's the whole point.
Right. But they would like what they would I think your environment part is like too much of where they are right now. Like what they would look at is, yes, this is your desk and everything, but they could map map it so they could put like a mask on top of it, basically, so that it doesn't look like a table anymore. It looks like I don't know, something else, like a weapons rack or something. So you're not going to lean on it, but there's that's where you pick up your weapon or something, right?
But it would need recognition, like based on the room, though. To know
it would need to have the layout, man. I don't
know.
Right,
but that's a big part of it. That's what it does do. Like that. Yeah. That's why they have to map the room out, actually. So.
It'd be cool to have like a VR board game application like that, or an AR board game thing where you can just pick a table and play board games remotely with other people same time. That'd be neat.
Isn't Tabletop Simulator VR?
It is, but an actual surface
table.
with blank cards that get mapped to the AR, maybe that'd be neat.
Yeah. Anyways, it's far off and probably not the right thing, but yeah, it's just interesting to see where that tech's going. Did you guys also see the Nintendo Direct from today?
The Nindies one?
Yeah.
Not yet. Sorry,
Tell us about
I
it.
gotta watch it now.
Everybody's talking about the Goose Game.
Oh, I saw it. Looks like a millennial game. Chris will love it.
Well, I mean, it's like
You know
Goat
me, I
Simulator,
love
right?
millennial games. I
Oh,
love
you
games
like
that are
Goat
precious.
Simulator?
I love precious games.
You like Goat Simulator?
Yeah, and I Am Bread and all those other stupid fucking games.
Donut County.
It's how is that the same at all?
We just talked about how it was a millennial game.
Yeah, but that wasn't the selling.
That's what I was referencing. Man, catch up, man. Keep up with this. Gotta keep up.
I don't know. Like a lot of the stuff is going to be stuff that we already have or are going to get on
Oh, really?
Steam. So things like was Slay the Spires was announced
Cool.
Into the Breach. They
I'm
announced
gonna
today
pick
and
that
then released it.
And it'll be like 50% more. to
More
buy
expensive,
than it will be
yeah.
on Steam.
Messenger has been getting good reviews. Did you see any of that, Keenan? Or
Yeah.
Chris?
Yeah, that looked interesting.
Pretty
Like
cool.
like the chat app Messenger.
No.
Are we gonna get Messenger
Switch game.
on Steam on Switch? Like
Probably through
Microsoft
your phone.
Messenger.
The Messenger.
Probably through your phone. It's like a Ninja Gaiden. They even had apparently the creators of Ninja Gaiden were playing their game at whatever the last big convention was, and they liked it. So
I think it's
Ninja
I think
Gaiden, Metroidmania.
oh my
It's
God,
gotten
I think it's
pretty
I think
crazy
it's-
reviews.
I think it's pronounced Ninja Gaiden.
Okay. Is it really?
Did you call it Ninja Gaiden when you were a kid?
Yes.
Yes,
Did you
that
call
for sure.
Did you call Ryu?
Yes. Don't
Probably,
ask me
yeah.
when I switched, but yes.
Can you think of other things like that?
Nope.
We used to call Guile from Street Fighter Gil.
Gil. Yeah, I don't know what I called him actually.
Cecil or Cecil?
Always Cecil.
I also said Cecil.
Yeah, the same.
That's correct, isn't it? I don't know. I always call it Cecil still.
Yeah, me too. Rydia or Rydia?
Rydia.
I said Rydia.
I think I said Radia.
I said Rydia.
What is it?
Ooh. I don't know. Back then, everybody had their own pronunciations for it.
Yeah.
I think Rydia is probably more correct.
Oh, you know what else we have to talk about? At the end of last week, Keenan, you said that you were embarrassed to mention a game that you were looking forward to, and then we talked about it after. I was like, "Why are you embarrassed about that? There's nothing to be embarrassed about." So let's hear it. Talk about it.
Okay, so I pre-ordered a PS4 game that was a PS2 game a long time ago, and it is Spike Chunsoft's 428 Shibuya Scramble, which is a live-action visual novel game that mixes a bunch of different genres of games together as one thing. And I remember it first when Tim Rogers mentioned it a long time ago and said it was
Tim
like one of those
Rogers.
things. Yeah.
Tim Rogers is like a parody of himself at this point.
Yes.
Like not with
Well, he's in
anything.
the business now.
No, I know, and that's what I mean. Like not with anything that he's done recently. Like I'm sure that he's successful, and no ill will towards the guy. But I hear the name Tim Rogers, and it makes me laugh because I think
Well,
about
yeah.
like 30,000 word essays about Final
Yep.
Fantasy.
And Metal Gear 2.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then he moved to Japan, worked at Sony for a while, and then like Sony Japan proper, and then like I don't remember. He started his own video game company, still writing for I think Kotaku every once in a while.
there you go. So sorry,
This
continue.
is weird. I'm just looking at what this is.
It's
But I don't look at. I
extremely
don't
weird.
think. But I don't think it's embarrassing, and I don't think it's that weird either. Like it's visual novel, right?
Visual novel, yes. It's also very Japanese. It's also a
Takes place in
tons
Japan.
of game. Yeah, yeah, and it's about I think some
spoilers.
sort of event in Shibuya, and
No
so
spoilers.
things happen. So
I think I might play this.
yeah,
Despite
I've been
not,
hyped for this for a long time.
despite not liking visual novels, I might play it.
But yeah, so that's going to be out September 4th, and
Oh
yeah,
my. I'll play it when it's on sale.
yeah.
It's too soon.
Sure is. Well, it's in the middle of your school starting, right? So.
I don't know what that is. Do you? Hey, you know what? When you were talking about Should We Scramble, it reminded me of because did it come out? It must have been a PS1 game, yeah.
PS2? No, it says Wii and PS3 here.
What? It's older than that.
I was older than this.
There was because what PS1 is when they started to do like the live action visual novel stuff, right?
They did a group of 4 anime visual novels from like various well-known anime people, such as Masamune Shirow of Ghost in the Shell.
Not
and
anime
stuff.
ones, live action ones.
They did horror ones, I'm sure. I don't know if they did things like this one.
This was a PS3 game. That shocks me. I'm genuinely shocked. I thought this was way earlier.
I thought it was a PS2 game actually, but apparently like it's early PS3.
There's got to
First game
be.
this came out was-
I want to find a list of visual novels that came out for PS1 because
Yeah,
I'm
this came out
sure
in 2008, 2009.
I'm
7
sure there's
years.
a couple that
A specific one. There was a lot of hype about it.
for PS1, right? There's something I'm thinking about that I can't pull forward. In any case, when you were talking about that, it made me think about one of my favorite. And this is, everybody's got like some obscure ass game that they like that either nobody's heard of or whatever like this. Do you guys remember playing a game called Suzuki Bakuhatsu?
No.
Sounds familiar.
If I explain it, you might remember. There was a game that I got for PS1 when we were in university called Suzuki Bakuhatsu, and it was about I don't know, a 20-something Japanese woman who like defused bombs.
Is that the orange one?
Yeah. And you like peel the very first level. There's an orange, like the fruit, and you peel it, and there's a bomb inside. And then it plays a little bit like the Room for like mobile. Like hidden box.
A room escape game.
Yeah, where you have to snip wires and take off shells and unscrew things, but you have a pretty strict timeline or time limit to do it. And it was great, like super stylistic. Look that up on YouTube too.
Yeah. Okay.
And watch the opening for Suzuki Bakuhatsu. It's really cool.
Man, I remember it. Yeah, you definitely. I also recommend it too.
Very cool game. And I mean, I don't know how you would even fucking get to play this now.
Well, you got to
Okay,
play it on.
Here's
emulator.
what you need. You need a Japanese PlayStation or modded English PlayStation 1.
Or
And then you need a Japanese
emulator,
game
PlayStation
copy
emulator.
of Suzuki Bakuhatsu. Or if you're a dirty fucking pirate,
That's right.
then you can do what Tim suggests. Make me
the
fucking
easiest
sick
way
to my
as well.
stomach.
Oh, now I remember why Shibuya Scramble was also big news. It was one of the Famitsu 40 out of 40 games.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Really?
That's cool.
That surprised me for something like that. Interesting.
Jesus Christ.
Also, this is a good time to remember that Nintendogs also got 40 out of 40.
Yeah.
Well, I can't remember how many millions that game sold, so maybe it was really supposed to be 40 out of 40.
Yeah.
Famitsu scores are all about money anyway.
They are. Like Monster Hunter Try.
Try was awesome.
No, try was good. Shut up.
Try it genuinely was good.
Capcom just has a lot of money, so they
And New Super Mario Brothers
spend
Wii.
money on Famitsu scores.
It did not get 40, did it?
Yeah.
Blech.
Yeah, so it's just there you go.
We done?
We're done. What's happening? I'm tired.
If
too late.
you, yeah, it's because we started at 9:30. Why is that?
Yeah.
The if you want to, I don't know, what kind of stuff do we have? Facebook.
Facebook.
I deleted mine, so bye bye. I won't be on there.
Actually, you know what?
Twitter.
I went to delete mine, and then I was like, we got the podcast website.
Yeah, you're screwed. I
Keenan
got
can
out
do
first.
it. Keenan can do it. We
I'll be
have
on
Twitter.
Facebook.
We have a Twitter account.
Yeah, maybe I should start using that to log
I don't
in.
know. I don't even know if I know the login for it. It's just repost what's on. Repost what's on the Facebook.
Oh shit!
Really, we have a Facebook group, and you should go on there
Try and
and
figure out the Twitter one. That's probably the best way.
Cable.
and flood the comments and tell Chris why he's not.
We're gonna
he's
get
not
one
correct
comment.
about Why? why
It's not
Jack
Link
is
Cable
not in.
Podcast.
We're gonna get one comment. That's gonna be from Andrew.
Shout out Andrew Stewart. The Link Cable Podcast.
You'll figure it out, but that would be a good way.
No,
to
I'm going to
actually
figure it
post
out
stuff.
on the show right now.
No, well, I'm gonna go. I gotta get going, so you can figure it out. I'm tired.
It's the link at the Link Cable.
Don't tell the viewers our password to our Twitter account, or do it.
Try Link Cable 1. It might be Link Cable 1.
All right, we'll see who will
Now,
get.
now it's everybody's account. Thanks.
You can go to at the Link Cable on Twitter.
You know what? The listeners can post stuff in our Twitter account.
Password?
Will it
Link
get
Cable
locked
1.
if
I
that
think
happens?
it's Link Cable 1. I don't think so.
Will,
Because
will
you
that,
have like shared social media accounts.
but yeah, there you go.
If you listen to this at the end of this show, and
You can post to our Twitter account.
and I don't know if the
As
password
your
works.
Twitter account.
And if the password works, I want you to log into the account and I want you to post something funny.
Yes.
And then if
Nothing
you do,
racist.
then we'll send you a gift. We'll send you a prize, like in the mail, in the real mail.
Oh, that's cool.
All right.
That's a good
Yeah.
idea.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
I'm excited.
Talk to you guys
I
next
don't
week.
think it's gonna happen though.
Goodbye.
Peace out.
See you.